Hey friends, welcome back to Gilky's Limited Adventures. If you watch our channel, then you'll know that Sundays are dedicated to charity because we think everyone should do a little good in this world. Today, we're spotlighting the Wisconsin Lions Camp. This camp is nestled in the woods near the beautiful Lions Lake in northern Wisconsin. It's a wonderful camp for youth and adults with disabilities. The Wisconsin Lions Camp provides a quality camp experience that allows for campers to connect with others, build self-esteem, grow friendships, and enjoy all the traditional camp activities in a safe environment. Some of you may know that William is legally blind. He just recently lost his vision, and we thought Lions Camp would be a great way for him to connect with others facing the same challenge. Here's a clip of how he was feeling as we first pulled into camp.
The moment has arrived. Sarah just pulled in. We're in north central Wisconsin, home of the Lions Club International Camp. It's an adult camp for blind people. I signed up a few months ago when I must not have been thinking very clearly because I'm here now and I've got nothing but butterflies jumping around in my stomach. It's a chance for me to really lean into my discomfort, stretch my comfort zone, find something to do that's a little out of the norm for me. I mean, you have to remember, I'm the husband that begs that we please don't go camping for any vacations. And when I went to church camp as a kid, I mean, it was always kind of exciting thinking about going, but the actual execution was brutal. So I'm really not like somebody that loves camp, but I like the idea of pushing myself, trying new things, trying to learn how to live as a blind man. Hopefully I'll meet some new friends, have some good experiences. I'm not defeating myself before I go. I'm already determined that I'm going to try to integrate myself in and engage in this camp. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I feel a little sick to my stomach and kind of wish I could just go home and crawl up and bite my pillow. I'm afraid it's going to be a long week, but it's going to be fun too, and I'm going to make the best of it I can. I'll give you some updates when I get back, hopefully, and have some pictures, and it might be way better than I think. I do appreciate the Lions Club International for making this possible. This is a completely free camp for blind adults, and that's pretty special. So thank you to the Lions Club if any of you are watching, and I'm sure I'll give you a good review when it's all said and done.
And if you know us, we love to have fun, so we of course had to stop at this fun Lionhead Bubbler to get a drink. What I saw of the camp was so beautiful. I walked William to his cabin, and I will let him take it from here. Okay, we're two weeks out probably from your Lions Camp adventure.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this a little bit like a questions and answer format, and I'm gonna throw some pictures and videos up as we talk so everyone can kind of see what we're talking about. But let's start with when you first went there. Tell us about the cabin.
Well, sure. Let me give a touch of context here. I'm in my backyard right now. If you hear any birds, we have a lot of beautiful birds because we do feed them over here, and you might hear a beautiful cardinal in the background. If so, just enjoy and we'll go from there. But as far as the cabins are concerned, I was pleasantly surprised with the cabins. They are not that rustic. They have twin beds. In fact, when you walk in, there's a common area in the middle and two sort of dorm areas or rooms to the side, and each side has their own bathroom. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. On my side, we were the Trailblazers. They have all kinds of different names, pioneers and whatnot, pathfinders, I think. I can't remember all of them. But we would go in, and we were on the left-hand side, and there were about 8 or 9 beds in there, and I think we ended up having 6 guys plus a counselor. And on the other side, it was probably very similar. The middle common area was real nice. It has furniture that you can enjoy. I found one that I sat in often, and there's games in there and tables, a nice place to mingle. And as far as the bathrooms, that was my big concern. When I was a kid, I hated camp, and a lot of it was because of the bathrooms. But these bathrooms were very clean. I believe they were cleaned daily, and I felt really comfortable walking in them. So the cabins were just a great experience, far surpassed what I thought. There was a little bit of air conditioning too. It wasn't too cool at night, but it certainly was pleasant and comfortable.
Okay, so I know you. You're kind of shy at first when you don't know people. So the first few days you kind of went on your own a little bit. Were there great places for you to sit and listen to books on tape, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I am really socially awkward is my default setting. I work on that a lot. In fact, I've learned a lot recently since I've been blind about learning to lean into what they call discomfort and kind of push through that. And so I did commit myself to trying to connect, but it wasn't easy at first for me. So yes, I did find a couple of little nooks for myself. One was in the common area when you go into the dorm, to the entrance in the middle. Over to the right in the corner was a chair. Perfect spot. And because some people were blind, when they would walk in, I would just get quiet so that I didn't have to interact with people. And I'm sorry about that, some of you guys that may not have known that. So that happened, and I would found that a good place though for my devotional time. Every morning I try to listen to the Bible on Audible or audio, and so that was great for that. I stayed on track like I wanted to do. Another great place, and you'll find it in the photos, is over by the lake in front of the totem pole area. It's just so beautiful down there, and also by the fire pit. I really think it was kind of my happy place. And before I went blind, we were bird watchers, kind of serious bird watchers. We'd do big days and stuff like that. And one day I was sitting down there and I heard very loud, unmistakably a woodpecker, louder than a hairy or a red-bellied woodpecker. So I kind of thought it might have been a pileated woodpecker, and then come to find out, Andrea, the camp director, mentioned at dinner one night that there was a nesting pair of pileated woodpeckers over by the totem pole. And so I was thrilled with that, because if you've never seen one of those, they're amazing. They're as big as a duck, big long bill, just a really impressive bird. So that was nice. I never laid my eyes on them, but we did see a Baltimore Oriole when we first came to camp too, right there on the asphalt. So really beautiful for nature too.
So I know, being on this side, I got a lot of texts and FaceTimes and calls, just because this was William's first time at camp and he didn't know anyone yet. So he did still want to like connect with, you know, a friendly face. But I encouraged him to do crafts because I really like crafts. So I'm going to show your pictures here, but you tell him how you like those crafts.
All right. Well, little disclosure, I was a pretty serious student, especially when I got to college, particularly graduate school. So it was like really important for me to be a good student, and I always strived to get A's and B's in high school. Sadly, I coasted through high school like a lot of guys do, but my lowest grade in school was art, and I got a C minus. So I've always just told myself I'm a terrible artist. Blind camp didn't make me feel like such a terrible artist, not because of the other people. Some people are wonderful artists, but the crafts were basic enough that I was able to enjoy it. So I did make Sarah like a really rudimentary cow out of construction paper, and she may have it on there
right now.
And it's on our fridge, so I got a gold star for that. And then there was a tile carving that was a art museum out of Wausau that came to visit us, and they gave us these tiles to carve, and I made a tree with what I would call an egret on it, although that's really being generous with the word egret. And then we did some finger painting, and I was not very good or confident at that, so it looks like I just spilled a bucket of paint on some paper, but I still stretched myself and had a good time, and learned that I do like art a little bit.
So I know there are a ton of water sports that you can do there, and you weren't able to do a lot, or maybe you just didn't do a lot, but tell us about those and then the one that you did do.
Okay. Well, they have swimming. It is in a lake. Like, I legit have diagnosed OCD, so I'm just going to be honest about that. and I get the heebie-jeebies swimming in a lake. So that's a little tough for me. But anyway, so I did not swim. But some people did and they enjoyed it. We had an especially hot day on Tuesday, and it was really attractive for people to go into the water. I thought it would be a little cold, but there were also kayaks. Looked like there were paddle boats. I think those kind of standing paddle boards, I think that was there. I did see another rowboat or two, I believe, and then pontoon boats. And I did go out on a pontoon boat ride, and that was really nice. It was such a beautiful lake. If you see those pictures, it's just stunning. Even with my limited vision, I can't imagine how it looks to everyone that can see well. But it was just so nice to get out on the water. They also allow fishing, so they did have that. I'm a little nervous about baiting a hook and things, but they had worms for free in the what they call the Memorial Center where the offices are, so you could fish. And I guess there's bass and some other nice fish in there, so a lot of good things to do. Another real highlight though by the lake is that's where the picnic tables are, a lot of them under a gazebo type thing or awning, and then a fire pit with some really nice benches around it, like donated by Lions clubs, that sort of thing. So just a beautiful lake area. And like I said, that was my happy place. I sent Sarah more than one picture looking out at the lake.
Now I know also there's quite a few pictures and videos from their walking trail. So tell us about that.
Yeah, they have a really nice boardwalk trail. It's kind of short, that part is, but it goes by something very Wisconsin, and that would be the Hodag Lodge. So if you ever want to look that up, Hodag, Hoadag, I believe it is. It's a mythical creature, maybe mythical, that is near the Rhineland.
Now I got to insert some pictures here.
Now, like around the Rhinelander area, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have gone on a scavenger hunt for Hodag statues. So there's a nice little wooden bridge there. It's just really pretty. But to me, the highlight was they have a trail that goes around the lake. It's a 1.7 mile walk. And I did take that by myself once. I started to go with a group, but just like anything with the group, and you can imagine a group of us being blind, a lot of stops, a lot of starts, a lot of, hey, wait a minute, hey, you know. And so it was going to be like where if I was going to be walking like this and my thighs were going to start hurting real bad. So I ended up asking, if I feel safe and have my cane type thing, may I go ahead on my own? And then of course that's fine. There's not a lot of rules there like that. And so I went and walked 1.7 miles. I met another woman on the trail who I got to have some nice conversations with. She has a little more sight than I do. She's still able to drive during the daytime, but we had a nice conversation. You might see in some of the pictures, it was on that trail that I saw a couple of teepees. Then they have a confidence course with ropes, things like that. Wasn't quite ready for that yet, but I may give that a whirl if I ever go back. We'll talk about that later. But the walking was great. Along with that though, if you're not up for walking, they have almost like a hayride, like a wagon ride, and they take you around the same trail. And I did that once too, and that was nice as well.
Now there's a few things that you didn't do, pickleballs, things like that.
Yeah, I'm actually amazed by some of my blind brothers. One buddy I met on my at my dinner table played basketball, pickleball. He tried it all, and he has less sight than I do. And I'm just amazed by that because the few times somebody's thrown me a ball, it comes right up on me, and I'm always afraid I'm going to break my nose or something. But they had a great time with that. So there's pickleball, there was basketball, there was archery, if you can believe that, archery. And board games, if that's what you're into. At night, one time they brought a polka band and they had a polka dance, and I got out there and cut the rug a few times, once with an 80-something-year-old woman, and just had a great time. And
Trivia.
then, what's that?
Trivia.
Oh, trivia. And they also had a talent show. And you talk about a variety of talents. They were all over the map. There were instruments played. One guy is Native American, and he brought his traditional drum that is associated with his tribe and did a chant, drum chant and things, and country music, rock and roll music, gospel music, flutes being played, all kinds of just really interesting things. And then one day when there was a rainstorm, they had a movie day, and they showed a comedian for one of the movies, and then another one, that recent movie about the guys that row the crew boat. I can't remember what it's called. The Boys in the Boat, I think. So real nice place like that. Lots to do.
So I know, obviously I know, that you were working in the corporate world in data analysis just 6 months ago, right? So a lot of these people I know, because I was there for the first day for a few hours, have been going to that camp for years and years and years and years. And maybe blind from birth, or how was it for you not being blind from birth, not being special needs, just out of the corporate world? Were you able to find friends like you? Was that kind of hard? Tell me your feelings on that.
I'll tell you, and some of this is my own thing, because in advance, if this sounds negative in any way, I don't mean it, because I actually give Lions Camp 2 thumbs up. And oddly enough, as much as I hate camp in my brain, I'm going to plan to go next year. So just so you know in advance. But I would say that was the hardest part. And I'm going to be a little vulnerable on that a minute. Is it was really hard for me to kind of come to grips with being blind. Like, I thought I had done that, but when I got to camp, it was like there was another additional grieving process for me. And it was like a little bit of lamenting what I have lost. It was a little bit also of being around peers that were blind. And as Sarah said, some were more developmentally disabled, which is great. I mean, it's a great way to get to know lots of different kinds of people. But at first, I didn't find a lot of people like myself, and some of that's my fault because I didn't engage as much as I would have liked to. And the other thing is, based on the length of history that people have at camp, there are a lot of already established relationships. I wouldn't say it's cliquey, but I would say that there are some really natural friendships, and it's, of course, anyone's going to gravitate towards someone they know. So as an outsider, it was a little bit tough. I had a few things that helped me. Number one, the staff is fantastic. There was one staff member named Jenny. I'm going to give her a big shout out. My first night there, she must have saw I looked lost and confused and sad, and so she encouraged me, and she'll never know how much that meant to me. Another staff member named Mary, who took time to sit with me by the boats and talk for a long time. And then, of course, Andrea, the director, and so many other staff. But I really got to understand that I'm not alone. I was grieving, like, I'm one of these now, this is my people, and like feeling like I don't fit in and all of that. That goes away in time. I met lots of wonderful people, and as I got to the last 2 days, I started really talking to people and getting to know them. Another thing too, this is just a little tip for anyone that's going through a hard time in life. The best way to get out of a funk, a lot of times, besides prayer and your faith, that sort of thing, is to do something for somebody else, because it takes your mind off yourself. And so there's an old saying that says, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Well, I have a little bit of central vision yet. It's blurry, it's double. I managed to fall and trip on all kinds of things, but I still was able, like, to take a less sighted person to the salad bar every meal that he wanted a salad. And so, or take some dishes back to the kitchen, and with my cane and navigating through slow, probably looked ridiculous. All of that doesn't really matter. It was just a way to serve, get outside of myself. And I found that just like any kind of relationship, the more you give, the more you get. And so as I found places to plug in and engage and talk, I started feeling a little more confidence. I mean, if you would have asked me on day 3, what do I think? I would have said, that's not really for me. I'm glad I tried it, but I don't think it's my jam. And by the last day, I was like, yeah, I'm planning to come back if they'll have me. So I will plan to be back next summer.
So you may see some rain droplets in our backyard, but it's still kind of sunny, like the sun is still out. So we're gonna keep going. I have one last question for you. Um, so we just met a gentleman at the grocery store whose son is blind, and we told him about Lions Camp. Um, and you had just heard about it this year. So what would you say to anyone who is thinking about going, and then tell us your final thoughts?
Okay, I think you would be hard pressed to find a more reluctant camp goer than the man you're looking at right now. I had to go to church camp when I was a kid. I don't think I had to. I think I kind of wanted to, but it was always like, oh, thinking about going and all that was way more fun than the actual going. And by the end of the week, I was just dying inside. So it's hard to get me to camp. When we go on vacation, I beg that we can please stay in hotels, that sort of thing. So if you're reluctant to go to camp, I think this one's for you because the dorms and the cafeteria and all that are very modern. Nothing like that's going to make you grossed out or anything like that. If you're not very social, you can be that way and still survive. But if you are social, there's a lot of ways to plug in. And I tell you, there's just a lot of good activities. No matter what your ability level is, because you have people that'll guide you by the arm if you need it. You have people that'll help you in the wagons and help you on the pontoon boats. There's never going to be anything that limits you unless you limit yourself, because they will try to find a way to make it happen for you. Now, I'm not sure about the ropes course. I don't know how that works, and I wasn't brave enough yet. I'll probably give it a go next time, if they have a strong rope, that is. And then as far as my final thoughts, if I were rating this on a 1 to 5 scale, 0 to 5, I would give it probably a 4, 4.5. And the only ding that I would give it is, as somebody brand new, and I don't know if it's open for a suggestion or not, but I kind of wish that there were two things. I wish, one, that there might have been maybe a 30-minute breakout session of kind of an orientation, because there was a lot of like what they would call like tribal knowledge. People knew where things were, and some of that got lost in translation for me. And the second thing, and I don't think this has to be for the whole week because it's not fair to somebody having their own camp experience, but it would have been nice for me to have had like a designated mentor or buddy, that if I needed to talk to somebody or just get the lay of the land, I could have went with them, somebody with experience. And I imagine that there's some people that would enjoy that kind of responsibility. So that's my only feedback. And then as far as this channel is concerned, you know our purpose here, and that is that we try to show that we still keep living life even though I'm blind. And we made a commitment in our marriage long ago that we were going to have a lot more experiences than stuff, and so we try to do that. And part of that is, as you engage with this channel, we do actually get monetized a little bit. It's really small, but we committed from day one that half of what we earn each month or every 2 months would be given to a charity. And we've given you updates on that all the time. And our next payment, we're going to get one at the end of this, by the end of this month. We are making a donation to Lions Camp. And because of my happy experience with it, but also because of your engagement. And we just can't thank you enough for that. So just your watching, liking, commenting, all of that does nothing really except help the world. And that's what we want to do. We want to leave this world a better place than we came to it. And you are making a difference even just by watching. So I want to thank you so much, though, for joining me today. Thanks for the questions, honey. Those were good. And Andrea, you got a great thing going up there. I really love you guys, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to come. I have nothing but good to say about the staff and everyone there. Thank you so much, and have a great day. God bless you all.